How advanced are we as a civilization today? With all of our technology and knowledge in different sciences, are we more advanced when compared to ancient mankind? To civilizations like the Egyptians or the Sumerians? Is it possible that ancient civilizations such as the Egyptians possessed advanced technology that helped them build the pyramids and other amazing structures? Is it possible that ancient mankind had the ability to harness electricity thousands of years ago? All of this and more is possible according to the ancient alien theory and to archaeologists around the world. If ancient civilizations did not possess advanced technology nor ancient power sources, how else would you explain them lifting and transporting huge blocks of stone like the trilithon at the Temple of Jupiter Baalbek, Lebanon that weighs over 4.5 million pounds? Or the Western Stone in Jerusalem, Israel which weighs 1.2 million pounds and the Ramesseum statue located in Thebes, Egypt which weighs over 2 million pounds? How could all of this be achieved without electricity? High-power machines for transport? Lasers and other high-tech tools for cutting and shaping? Ancient mankind must have had ancient power sources, ancient technology. All over the world, we can find incredible ancient sites that challenge our very own technology today. From Ollantaytambo, Pumapunku to Great Pyramid in Egypt, all of those sites are amazing achievements of ancient mankind. The only question is, who gave them the technology to complete these projects? What is funny to some people is the fact that there are archaeologists that believe that all of this was achieved with slave labor and simple tools. There are temples all over the world that were built using blocks of stone that range from 50 to 200 tons, there are even heavier blocks than that, so they're just far too big for people who didn't have the wheel or the pulley for example, which could have facilitated them to move these blocks from the quarries to their destination. It just doesn't make sense. In February of 2012, in the Stone Valley Materials Quarry in Riverside, California, a 680,000-pound granite monolith was prepared to travel over 100 miles to become part of an exhibit at the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. A 1.4 million-pound crane and a 44-axle tractor-trailer rig with over 2,400 horsepower were needed to move the rock. Building steel girders underneath it was required. 208 tires were placed underneath those steel girders. One power unit was required to pull it and another one to push it, and still, after all that effort, the granite monolith was able to be moved about 5 miles an hour. The boulder, called levitated mass, is a gigantic payload by modern construction standards, but it's small compared to the gigantic blocks of stone moved by ancient civilizations in the past. It is almost impossible to take the 340-ton rock and move it without modern-day technology, which still has issues transporting it. How did ancient people move monoliths, some over 5 times the size of levitated mass, without the aid of high-powered machines? Ollantaytambo in Peru is perhaps one of the best examples of the use of high-tech tools in ancient history. The walls of this ancient mountain stronghold seem to talk about what some experts believe to have been thousands of craftsmen, shaping and cutting solid stone with a precision that today could only be matched with high-powered machine tools. Ancient power sources perhaps? At Ollantaytambo, we have these rectangular-shaped stones which were removed from a mountain about 60 miles away, which are made out of andesite, which by the way is incredibly hard to remove, and these sections were so precisely removed that you wouldn't be able to find a single scratch or sharp edge on the surface. What was the power source that ancient mankind could have used in Ollantaytambo to power machines that could cut, shape and transport these gigantic blocks of andesite? Is it possible that civilizations of antiquity were able to achieve these amazing accomplishments with the use energy-driven technologies? And if so, what was the source of that power? Ancient power sources. In 1938, the museum director of the National Museum of Iraq discovered terracotta pots and copper cylinders in the archives that may have been used as galvanic cells. These 2,000-year-old devices, called Baghdad batteries, are believed to predate the invention of the cell battery by more than 1,000 years. Archaeologists today think that these batteries may have been used to electroplate gold onto silver for decorative jewelry. According to researchers, the Baghdad batteries can generate around 4 volts, and these are relatively small-sized artifacts. Now imagine these Baghdad batteries with approximately 5 or 6 feet. They would create much more power, 30, 40 or up to 50 volts, which would be enough to power some sort of machinery. 370 miles south of the Giza plateau stands the Hathor Temple, where we can find further evidence of technology in ancient times. Approximately 4,000 years old, the halls of this monument are lined with curious images, but one relief depicts what many ancient astronaut theorists believe to be proof that the ancients used power. They call it the Dendera bulb. Perhaps a good example of ancient power sources. What is incredibly interesting is the fact that on the wall relief in the temple, we see that the bulb is actually plugged into what appears to be a power source. Is this enough evidence that can prove that ancient Egyptians had advanced technology, electricity specifically, and that they could use this technology like we use it today, to light a room or to power a device that would allow us to transport something that is too heavy? Did our ancestors have the understanding of how to generate power thousands of years before modern man did? Or is it possible that they received this knowledge and technology from otherworldly sources, as ancient astronaut theorists and researchers believe? Could ancient man have received ancient power sources from beings far more technologically advanced? Is it possible that these gods that descended from above were actually extraterrestrial beings that made it possible for ancient mankind to harness electricity, transport construction materials and use power tools? Could the Great Pyramid of Giza have been built to serve as a power plant and not a royal tomb, as some researchers and archaeologists suggest? What we have been a very, very precise building that has the precision of a fraction of an inch. It's something that is very noteworthy and not indicative of a simple agrarian culture without technology and advanced knowledge. You can think of the Great Pyramid as a machine, an ancient power source. But just how could the Great Pyramid have been used as a power plant? Generating energy from its core? Researchers believe clues can be found by exploring the surface underneath the pyramid. In 2000, maritime engineer John Cadman proposed a theory that the Egyptians pumped water from the nearby Nile River into a small chamber underneath the Great Pyramid. The pump could then create intense hydraulic pressure that would cause the entire pyramid to vibrate. In the subterranean chamber there is some evidence that shows that there had been water present in it and that there's water erosion on the floor, and then up in the thin area. And then also, because it was a hydraulic pulse generator. So you have a rarefaction wave, which is an extremely low pressure wave, which would have struck the ceiling, and the ceiling is actually chipped. And that would have been from the actual compression waves hitting the ceiling. John Cadman. In the Queen's Chamber in the Great Pyramid, traces of zinc and hydrochloric acid have been discovered. Scientists suggest that chemicals coming in through the northern shaft were hydrated zinc, and the other chemical coming through the southern shaft and into the chamber were dilute hydrochloric acid. There are evidence and trace on the walls. Dunn suggests that these two chemicals were poured down through the shafts and then mixed together inside the Queen's Chamber, triggering combustion. When you bring these two liquids together, a chemical reaction occurs, and a product of that chemical reaction is hydrogen. Dunn suggested that the hydrogen gas traveled from the Queen's Chamber into the King's Chamber. The vibrations from the subterranean pool energized the hydrogen atoms, transforming them into a microwave energy beam. Is it really possible that ancient Egyptians built the Great Pyramid as a power plant, obtaining incredible energy from it? Is it possible that energy ran the advanced tools of early builders and devices like the Dendera bulb? But most importantly, who gave them this knowledge and technology? At this point, everything is possible. Looking at this in a skeptical way, you could say, well, you are out of your mind. But then again, where is the evidence that proves the ancient alien theories wrong? At Abu Ghraib, Memphis, Egypt, we find the Sun Temple. In 1898, an excavation team with the Berlin Museum discovered the base of a massive obelisk estimated to have once stood at over 160 feet tall. According to the ancient Egyptian building texts from Edfu, Abu Ghraib was known as the place of the gods. Egyptologists know it as a place where the ancients connected with divine energies. There's evidence that obelisks all over the world are tapping into this natural energy that's part of the earth. The concept is to take the natural energies of the earth and manipulate them. It's a subtle energy, but for those who have the devices and technology to see and measure this energy, it's something that can be used. What is interesting about a major number of obelisks is that many of them are constructed out of granite, a stone containing high concentrations of energy-responsive quartz crystal. Because of its crystalline structure, quartz has the ability to convert the Earth's natural electrical vibrations into usable energy by a property known as piezoelectricity. Crystals are literally a tool and a technology that's essential for transmitting energy, and that is taking energy in one state and essentially converting it to another state. Ancient astronaut theorists believe that ancient cultures that erected obelisks had some understanding of the high-tech properties of quartz and that they might have used them to transmit this energy over vast distances. But is it really possible to transmit energy through the air? It is, according to Nikola Tesla, who in July 1899 claimed to have invented a way to transmit electricity through the air, wirelessly, all over the world by harnessing the Earth's natural conductivity, or what Tesla referred to as standing waves. Tesla talked about giant transmitters could send and receive limitless amounts of electricity, flowing like invisible water. One of the key components in his system was quartz crystal. Tesla tried to build a system of wireless power. He built the Wardenclyffe Tower on Long Island in New York. He was going to hook this tower up to a power plant and he was going to broadcast electricity. According to him, vehicles would be able to draw power from the tower and obtain free clean energy. But was Tesla the first to think of this type of wireless energy? Or did mankind discover this type of energy thousands of years before him? Could the Great Pyramid be an equivalent to Tesla's Wardenclyffe Tower, transmitting free energy and providing power to vehicles and equipment? We know today that the Great Pyramid contains large amounts of quartz crystal. The question we ask is, could the Great Pyramid together with obelisks around the world made up a global network of free energy? The pyramids were actually geomechanical devices. They were attached to Earth and they were tuned in a way so that they would vibrate with the frequencies of the Earth, and they converted the energies of the Earth into electromagnetic energy. Is it really possible that ancient mankind possessed these technologies thousands of years ago? That they used them in ways we do not understand? There are so many pieces of evidence scattered across the globe, and we are only beginning to find out slowly what ancient civilizations were capable of.